What is going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. NBA Hardwood show. Hoop, DC, myself. Breaking down a small slate. 3 games today. There's no way we cannot avoid talking about what happened last night. Very sad. There's no way we just can't talk about it. I don't really know what else to say. I mean, obviously, we're all praying for him. It's very scary, very sad. Hopefully, we get positive news. Hoop, I'll throw it to you. Anything you want to say about it? I mean, I don't know what else to say.
I mean, absolutely wild to see that happen. Watching it live, I'm assuming you guys are watching it live as well, and you see some crazy hits in the NFL. You know, the helmet to helmet hits, the hits where the guys go down and they kind of like their arms are locked in and they're kind of shaking. Like those are scary hits. That hit last night didn't look bad, but when the dude stands up, I mean, when Hamlin stands up and then just immediately falls back, you immediately are like, oh my gosh, that's worse than anything you've ever seen before. I mean, just completely out cold, scary. I mean, super, super scary. I mean, man, I'm just still in shock watching that. Obviously praying for full recovery. You know, his health is priority number one. There's no doubt about it. One of the best tweets I did see was from, Dr. Chow, the guy that kind of breaks down all the injuries in the NFL. He's like, you know, obviously you never want to see that happen. He goes, but if it is going to happen, the best spot to be is in a hospital, and the second best spot to be is in an NFL field, because there's 20 top doctors in the world right there ready to pounce on any situation. They got in there and, you know, fingers crossed, saved Hamlin's life. We'll see, but it is a slow process. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a doctor and know anything about that. My wife is a nurse and works with patients like that. It takes a while. It's going to be at least 24 hours from when it happened until you really we'll see what the long-term effects are. Like I said, praying for sure with full recovery, full health. Just wild to see, man.
Yeah. No other words, DC. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, not a ton more to add. Obviously, just, you know, reminds you of kind of the insignificance of sports, and hope he's okay. Not a ton more to add. Sports wise, like NFL wise, they're in quite a predicament with what they're going to do. Yeah. Just the timing of it. I've been on Twitter discussing it, and people that are saying, "Oh, you can't talk about anything else for the rest of your days," is like, come on. I mean, has no bearing on, you know, the health and outcome of Hamlin. So yeah, we'll see what they do. I mean, I personally think they got to get that game played. It just has so much implications on the playoffs. But for now, I guess we'll find that out in the next few days, I'm guessing. But yeah, praying for him and hope he pulls through for sure.
Yeah, you said Hoop, you brought up like there's no better spot. I saw a tweet about like the NFL every single game. Like the doctors and stuff around, like they have a meeting which I never knew. I mean, you don't really hear about that stuff, but it's really cool. At least like you never see this. It's the most. I mean, I watched a doctor video. Easy Money dropped in the Discord, and the doctor broke it down. Like it's more common, which is not common at all, but in baseball and hockey, because like your heartbeat has to be doing it like a certain millisecond. Then you have to have the trauma. Like if you miss a line drive, it hits you in the chest, or a slap shot. I know people are talking about a hockey player that did recover, and he played for like 12 years and stuff like that. But it's so rare in football. I mean, great though. Like you couldn't have bet in a better spot. And then the Bengals, I was listening to, I'm not listening to all this stuff on ESPN, but how close the hospital was from the stadium, which it couldn't be any better too. Saw Diggs go and visit them. I mean, everyone's praying for him. There's no really other words. It's really tough. Chris Pronger, Craig said about the hockey.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, it was crazy to witness, but I mean, if something like that is obviously going to happen, that's not a bad spot to be, because if he was out in the backyard playing with his kids or something, or I don't even know if he has kids, but roughhousing, and that happened, and you don't have medical professionals around, you're done. I mean, there's no coming back from that. And just to touch on another point, we're in the sports industry. I mean, we do this for a living. I see no issue with people talking about the playoff ramifications of this game, when it's going to be played, what the NFL is going to do. Like, why can't we talk about that while praying for this guy to have a full recovery and be okay? can do both, and I don't see an issue with it. You know, the people last night are like, the only thing you should say is pray for DeMar Hamlin. Yes, we're all praying for him, and
one guy, he sent his only tweet ever. He's been on Twitter for 3 years, but his only tweet ever was telling me to shut the fuck up about discussing the NFL.
Come on. Yeah, I mean, it is very impactful what they decide to do with this game. I mean, there's massive ramifications, and you know, I'm with you on your tweet, DC, where I mean, really priority number one for the NFL, like that game should be played before any Week 18 game is played. Now, how do they do this? I don't know. I mean, they're a multi-billion-dollar organization. They should be able to figure it out, but to me, that game needs to be played before any other games are played, and it looks like it's not the case. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all up in the air right now. I think the only thing that I don't think they can move the Super Bowl date. I think that has to stick just for the financial stuff and all the things around that. But I think everything else is up in the air, including, you know, moving Week 18 back an entire week, playing that game first, playing the Week 18 games first, and seeing how those go down. Because I think if the Chiefs lose, then the playoff implications would become, I believe, much less dramatic, because the Bills would then be kind of locked into the 1 seed. So I think that's what they're going to do, play out the rest of, play out Week 18 as it normally is. I mean, the Bills are scheduled to play on Sunday too. Who knows if they're going to be ready to go. So yeah, I think, it could really go any direction. Nobody knows for sure. I bet the NFL doesn't even know quite yet. They're trying to figure that out. It'll be, frankly, interesting to see how it all goes down.
Yeah, I mean, I assume they're waiting on like hoops, the 24 hours, 48, just some response. Hopefully, he'll make it, and I think that's probably what they're waiting. But they did say it won't be played this week. Week 18 is not going to change as of now, so we'll have to do it. We'll just have to play it by ear. Just keep praying. Someone in chat asked, I mean, you guys are, of course, we do play sports. We gamble for a living. People have money on Showdown and all that. Someone in chat asked, crew, any news on what DK is doing about the Showdown slate? I haven't really been on Twitter too much. I assume Showdown slate's a pretty easy refund everywhere. I mean, they didn't even get halfway through the first quarter. The games not played this week. I mean, I feel pretty confident that the sites will do that. I know as much as you guys when it comes to that. The best ball stuff, who knows about all that? I mean, again, we're praying for him. We hope it's better. We don't know when the game's played. And I think everyone's waiting on to see what the NFL is going to say when their plan is to do it. My guess is, I saw Tuttle had a tweet. Big T quoted it. I assume Showdown's refunded. I assume best ball, they're going to wait it out, see until, see if they're going to play. I mean, if they're playing next week before all the other games, I assume that game's still going to be treated as normal on the best ball slate.
The Showdown slates are still pending, right? They haven't.
They haven't done anything yet, from what I've.
So
at least my account's still
sitting there. Yeah, it's still sitting there.
I assume if they were to finish or play the game, they would pick it up where it left off. I mean,
I'd assume they're 7-3. I feel like you can't restart. I mean,
So in that case, I don't know. Maybe the Showdown would continue and just stay pending.
You think they'd hold it for the whole week?
Well, if they weren't going to, they could have already canceled it, right?
I think if once it gets closer to the weekend, though, they're going to want people to put that money back in play. So I wouldn't be if it goes through the weekend. I think they'll end up just refunding would be my assumption, but never know.
Yeah, no easy decisions for the operators, the NFL, all that stuff. It's obviously not as important as the man's life, but still a lot of those things need to be decided.
DK just tweeted saying they're refunding, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, they're going to want people to play through that money.
I assume,
And then the problem with people are like this fat to jack guy. How can anyone even think about or talk about when the game will play when this guy's life is in jeopardy? What's wrong with DC and Hoop? Again, if you have that opinion, that's fine. But I'm sorry. I feel like I can still pray for this guy's life and talk about the ramifications of sports. That's life. I mean, I'm sorry if you're offended by that, but again, that's my opinion. That's what we're going to do over here on Run Pure Sports. And I don't know what to tell you. I mean, we canceled our NFL shows this morning out of respect, just because we're not going to talk about the Week 18 NFL slate with this looming. We're not going to do a show based around that, but I have no problem having the conversation about the ramifications of that game last night while also concerned and praying for DeMar Hamlin's life. I think you can do both. And if you disagree with that, I'm sorry.
I mean,
but
this guy's watching the show right now and saying that. It's like, okay. I don't know. I just don't get it. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, of course, there's no way we could have came on and not talked about that. So that's enough of that, though. It is
and then one more. He said his buddy was in the RPS chat and got banned last. The people that got banned last night in chat were making some asinine, over the top comments. It was not just discussing the game. Okay, like that's not what happened last night in the Discord. I can promise you that. It was people like Skip Bayless who will take any opportunity to toe the line and essentially get paid for offending people. Like what he said last night, idiot. I mean, a lot of those people that were tweeting, so it was absolutely idiots. We're just talking about the game in week 18 of the NFL. I see no issue with it.
Yeah, I mean, that Skip, I mean, man, I couldn't even Skip, I couldn't even believe did that. But and I was in Discord for a little bit. I mean, I saw a comment here or there, and then I had to get out. I mean, it was
exactly. And those people did get banned, but people are just having conversations. I mean, come on. Like, come on.
Yeah, we're definitely not banning any. I mean, you did something wrong if you got banned. There's no doubt about that. And you can't. It's not hard to be a good person. I mean, there's obviously we're all praying for him, but that's enough with that. It is only a 3-game slate today. It locks an hour later than usual, 8 p.m. Eastern. So we got 2 8 p.m. Eastern games today, 1 9 p.m. Eastern game. I will be in the live show chat. If you have any questions throughout the show, because we have so much time today, if we're going game by game like usual. If you have a question on that game, you do have to be a member for the show. Again, if you have a question in YouTube, I see it. We have some time. I can maybe get to it too. But if you have a question and you're a member, live show chat, drop it in and tag me, and we can answer some questions throughout the show too, since we will have a lot of time. But let's go game by game. 3 games on this slate. First game of the night, Washington Wizards, Milwaukee Bucks, 230 total. Milwaukee is favored by 8. Big news to start. Washington, Bradley Beal is questionable. He did go through shoot around, so I'm assuming he plays, but still a questionable take. We will get that before lock. As far as the Bucks side, Middleton's still out. George Hill is out. DC, I'll start with you in this game. Giannis looks like a very good play, 12.1K. Luka's not on the slate. The big boys, LeBron's not on the slate. He is the stud tonight. Think you're going to get to him? Break down any other Bucks, and then do you have interest in the Wizards and talk about the Beal stuff a little bit?
Yeah, it's been kind of a weird season for Giannis. He started off absolutely on fire, and then he kind of had a stretch of games before these last few where, he's putting up not bad games, but wasn't really paying off the tag, right? Was kind of getting in the 50s almost every game, but man, these last couple of games has absolutely exploded. 84, 81 fantasy points. I think the matchup is perfectly fine here. So yeah, Giannis, I think you can easily make the case that he is the top spend on the slate. I don't think there's a ton of good value in these 3 games. So if you play Giannis, you're probably going to need at least 60, most likely, maybe 70 plus, just because of his high price tag, and probably going to have to play some pretty bad dusty dudes to get him in there. So a fine play, obviously, just kind of depends on your roster construction, right? On a 3-game slate, so much of it doesn't really come down to projections. It comes down to sort of the game theory element. So how you build your lineups, how you think these games going to go is obviously going to be critical to success. But yeah, with no Middleton, I do think Giannis is a good play. You can play Drew Holiday here, I think. Probably not going to, the secondary Bucks now that they're mostly healthy outside of Hill and Middleton. And then on the Washington side, really don't like this matchup for, a guy like Kuzma, who will have to go up against Giannis, I think, for large parts of this game. I think, Porzingis, I prefer him a little bit, but really Washington, I don't love it. So mostly sticking to the Bucks side of this one for me.
Yep, good breakdown there. I'm going to go to – I got a question, Hoop, in the live show chat. Any thoughts on Denny Avdia? So talk about him, and then any other thoughts in this game.
Yeah, I'm trying to mess around with some of these layouts here. We're getting used to new systems, so don't mind if some things are moving around on the fly here. But yeah, I mean, there's just not a ton of value on this slate. I don't think I can get to Denny at 4-6, especially if Beal's in there. If Beal is out, then maybe some of those secondary guys come into play a little bit more. But like you said, he went through shoot around. A lot of times when these guys go through shoot around, they tend to play. So I'm kind of just going to assume that he is in there. And don't necessarily hate the price tag on him at 8K. The matchup here is not great. Don't get me wrong. But we have a 3-game slate, and there's just not a lot of standout plays. So you have to consider fringe type plays. Porzingis is another guy. Don't feel comfortable playing him at 9-4, but we just don't have a ton of options here. I mean, we only have 3 games, and you're going to have to get creative with your lineup, especially if you're building a lot. So this news should come, I don't know, probably hour, what do we have, 5 now, an hour and a half. But again, he went through shoot around. I expect him to play. On the Bucks side, without Drew or Middleton, obviously Giannis was a great play, and then you could consider some of these secondary plays. But the fact that Drew is back makes it tough to play any of these real secondary guys for the Bucks. And then also, do you really want to play Drew after missing 3 straight games? So it's a tough situation. Giannis, I'd love to get to. I honestly think like Luka going off for that 3-4 game stretch kind of lit a fire under Giannis to kind of pick it up. And you look at it back-to-back 80 fantasy point games, 84, 81. Matchup tonight's phenomenal. I mean, there's no one on the Washington side that's going to slow him down. But the issue is, where do we find value? You're going to have to play some very fringe, iffy type plays to get to Giannis. But I think I kind of want to, just because, man, if he goes off for 70, 80 again, he could double the output of some of these other studs on the slate. So I want to get to him if possible. Again, it's not going to be easy. It's just not a great game overall, but we're going to have to probably get creative with some of these guys. But I'm struggling here in this game to find a play outside of Giannis.
Title, you're the Bucks guy. Do you think, obviously Drew Holiday has missed these last couple of games, and that maybe has something to do with it, but I don't know. That's not really going to increase his rebound rate. Like we've seen, 20, 22 rebounds. Who mentioned the Luka thing? You have any insight onto, why Giannis was, Drew had missed games earlier too during Giannis's little bit of a slow stretch. Do you have any take on, if something's got into Giannis, if anything has changed with the Bucks, anything like that?
I mean, he just looks like way more aggressive, more. I mean, they've went through a little rough stretch. Giannis seemed in the beginning of the year not to take a back seat by any means, but get others more involved. Yeah. Just not go. I mean, he plays so hard every single game. 82 games, a long year for him. And I mean, it feels like he's just sick of losing. There are too many close games. Especially the reboundings. You look at how many shot attempts, his usage rate lately. I mean, it just looks 22 shot attempts, 36 shot attempts, all the 22 rebounds. It just feels like he just turned on another gear, and maybe he's seeing all this Luka stuff. I
think that has something to do with it. I mean, I really do. I mean, he's been the main guy for these big monster games over the course of the last couple seasons. See someone else doing it, getting all the attention. I mean, that's all anyone was talking about the last week. Luka just going off. I think it definitely lights a fire under a guy like Giannis's ass.
Yeah, I don't know how much he pays attention to everything, but he knows he wasn't playing up to his expectation. He looks like he's taking over. So I don't think Drew coming back really affects him too much. I mean, He's a great play. As far as the Wizards, someone, Mamba in chat talked about Rui. I really do like Rui at 4 or 5. I mean, his usage the past 5 games, north of 20, playing aggressive. I've always been a Rui guy since Gonzaga. He's battled injuries. He hasn't found his role completely. Those last 5 games, he's definitely had a big step up with his usage, with his role. Any thoughts on him? He's my favorite Wizard personally.
Yeah, you're going to have to play guys like that, like we talked about, the guys that you're not very comfortable feeling when you click their name. Rui, if Gafford is in the starting lineup, he's only 4.5K. Probably be Gafford and Rui, because I just don't think I want to pay the 9-4 for Porzingis or the 8-4 for Kuzma. So, those secondary guys I think are in play. And real quick, our guy in Snyder in the chat, PGA shows start tonight. Snyder, AP, and our guy Locks will be heading up that Tuesday crew. So make sure you tune into that. They'll be going all season long, Tuesday nights. And then we have the premium show on Wednesdays, me, Tambo, and Big T. And then we'll have all our content for PGA going up tonight. Well, most likely tomorrow, I'd say.
Yeah, PGA season. I mean, PGA's been great. You added Locks. Tambo absolutely crushes. Snyder does a great job. Showdowns. PGA has pretty good showdown price pools too. And it's Tambo talks about it's not like an NBA where you have to sit all night, do your swaps and stuff. I mean, man, you set it on Thursday, all weekend you can sweat it out. The cut line's very fun. I'm in the PGA streets a lot too, so very excited for that. And I'll be heading over to the Waste Management, who TPC Scottsdale, coming up. And my buddy works there. Oh yeah, my buddy works there, so he's hooking us up. Biggest party course or whatever, the event. I'm very excited for that coming up. Probably go Friday, Saturday, and then they got the Super Bowl.
What's the famous hole? The par
17th, the par 3 17th. Yep.
And who got the hole in one last year where it just absolutely was going crazy? I just watched it too, and I forget who it was.
Man, was it Higgs? Maybe it wasn't Higgs. He took his shirt off though. There was a big chubby dude took his shirt off. Who got the hole in one? I can't remember who did, but I'm sure someone in the chat.
Sam Ryder.
Sam Ryder, yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
It's 16. 16's the hole.
16, yeah, 16. Yes.
Phoenix. Oh yeah. So I'm very pumped for that. And they got the Super Bowl. Someone said Higgs too. Maybe he got one as well. I watched the Sam Ryder one.
I think Higgs was in that group and he took his shirt off. Or I know Higgs took his shirt off and they were throwing beer on him.
So they got the Super Bowl in Arizona and the Waste Management in the same weekend. I think it's the Waste Management. I keep Phoenix Open, whatever it is, the same weekend. So it's gonna be a crazy one in Arizona. Very excited for that. Yeah, but golf coming up. Big prize pools always in golf. Very fun. Yeah. So team absolutely crushes it. Again, Run Pure Sports, no promo code going on right now. We had one for Christmas. Still a great time to join. MMA is going to be picking back up. NBA, NFL playoffs is always a blast. MLB will be here before we know it. So head to Run Pure Sports, get in the Discord. All we ask on this show, like button, subscribe button. We've got 120 right now. We want to get you the plays of the day today. So like, subscribe. We appreciate it. Let's keep it rolling. Any other questions? No questions in the live show chat. So let's move on to the next game. The Boston Celtics, Oklahoma City Thunder, 232.5 total. Boston is favored by 8.5. On the Thunder side, Poku, he's going to be out for like 6 weeks. Nothing has changed on that side. As far as Boston, Robert Williams is questionable. DC, I'll start with you. Talk about Robert Williams news. Horford get a bump. Anyone else get a bump if he's out? If he's in, what are you doing with Boston? Any interest on OKC?
Yeah, I think OKC could struggle to compete in this game. I mean, you just look at these two rosters and it's just brutal, right? Especially when you consider what's OKC's like really only way to compete and win games is kind of SGA, Giddey going off. But those guys have brutal matchups, right? SGA's got to try to do it against one of the best defenses and one of the best individual defenders in the league in Marcus Smart. So it just seems like a really bad spot for OKC. I've been trying to figure out what they're going to do with their big man situation. It's ugly right now, right? Poku out, Robinson, Earl out. Obviously, they lost Holmgren to start the year. I don't know if I played Darius Bazley the other day.
Did he play?
Got the straight up, the straight up DNP. So it's a team, that is in tank mode. They're in kind of a weird situation where they got some promising young players, but I don't trust this team here. On a 3-game slate, I might kind of, for the most part, just kind of cross this game off and hope it goes the way I think it's going to go, which I think OKC is really going to struggle. I think Boston could run away with it, in which case, especially if it's the defense of Boston that clamps the team down, which is what I think is going to happen, you might not see a ton of time in the second half for the Boston starters. So I do think this game is by far the most likely one to blow out, at least in my eyes. So I'm definitely not playing the OKC, the OKC expensive guys, SGA, Giddey. They're kind of off my radar a little bit. And I think I'm going to fade the Boston, Tatum, Brown, those types of guys too. So maybe I'll look to the backups, right? If you think it's going to blow out, you look to the backups. Maybe you get the blowout run, get some garbage time on a 3-game slate. Sometimes you got to dig for those types of plays. But yeah, I just don't see this game being competitive, so I don't want to pay up for anyone expensive in this game personally. The Robert Williams stuff, obviously bump to Horford, 4,800, pretty good price tag for him, so you could play that if you wanted to. But yeah, I'll be kind of searching for value in the backups in this game if I go to this game at all.
Yeah, I think another guy that gets a boost if Robert Williams out, Grant Williams, 3.5K. Sure. If you want Giannis, he gets a bump there. What about Hoop? I'll go to you in this one. If Robert Williams plays, he's $1,200 cheaper on DK than FanDuel. He always fits FanDuel scoring better with the stocks. 4.2K on a slate like this could help you get Giannis. The minutes are definitely capped, but thoughts on him, Horford, Giddey, SGA. I mean, Tatum, Brown. There's definitely studs in this game. I think they're lower owned. The studs are. Break down this one for us.
This is definitely a spot. If you look at it, I mean, blowout written all over. I mean, Boston's just such a good defensive team, and they get the Thunder here. And, Marcus Smart is going to be on SGA. The whole game is going to be very tough for him to be productive. The bigs with OKC, who the hell knows what you're going to get? Darius Baisley, I think on almost every projection site out there was popping as like a solid value, and then he didn't play at all, right? Is that what happened?
When you took a break, I had him in my core plays and on my main team. So I ate that one myself.
Well, I talked about it with Amber too. That was so funny.
It's man, you just never know what you're going to get out of these Oklahoma City bigs. And on a full slate, it's easy just to avoid the situation and move on. But we only have 3 games today, but still you're throwing darts on these dudes. So on the OKC side, my favorite play would probably be Giddey. And the reason you play him is you're banking on, a tough matchup for SGA and maybe Giddey's able to get it going. I mean, it's still not going to be easy for him either, but he's much, much cheaper than SGA. So I guess by default, my favorite guy on OKC would be Josh Giddey. 6.7K, I think, is a fair price tag for him. On the Boston side, I don't think I want to play the big guys here, Tatum or Brown. I mean, if I was going to play one, it would just be Brown. Take the savings, $1,400. But Horford in play. I like Marcus Smart a little bit here. He's going to be on the court a ton. When SGA is out there, he's likely to be out there as well. So $6K for him, I think, is a fair price tag. Somewhat interested there. Horford, like I said, fine play. If Robert Williams is in there, 4.2K is a good price tag for him. We're going to need some of these values, especially if you want to play guys like Giannis. And then, Grant Williams potentially is playing mid-20s. He's not a guy that's going to get you like 40 fantasy points, but man, he's cheap, 3.5K. If he can get you 20 on a 3-game slate, you take it and run. It's kind of where he's been in terms of production lately, right around 20. So I think he's fine at 3.5K. And then all those guys would obviously get a boost if Robert Williams is eventually ruled out. He's questionable right now? Yeah, questionable.
Yeah, questionable. We'll get it before lock, though.
Yeah, we're going to get it before lock. Yeah, so that's the important part. So, I mean, again, not the greatest game, but it's a 3-game slate, and we're going to have to select some of these pieces just because of the nature of the small slate.
Yeah, I'm looking at potentially Trey Mann is 3,600. They got blown out in their last game against Philadelphia, and he did close that game. Last 3 games, 25, 23, 28. So if you want to fade this game for the most part, hope for the blowout, hope the stars don't get there. Maybe a guy like Trey Mann off the bench could be a value, right? And we're going to need a couple value pieces to try to get there to get to the top tonight. So he's a guy I like a little bit.
And then just one more comment in the chat. Someone said, Carlos, last time SJ played Boston, he had 37 points and 55 fantasy points. Very possible. I mean, these studs in the NBA can beat any defense for sure, but I'd be willing to bet that he doesn't do it again. And I'm going to say
makes me think he's like less likely to do it again than the fact that he did it the first time.
Correct. Yeah. And if that was against Smart, which I don't know if it was or not, he probably remembers that and he's going to be extra motivated tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be, if you want a contrarian spend, SGA is there. He can get there in any matchup, but it is definitely a tough one against Boston. Dr. Lucky, I'm glad you brought up the Trey Mann because he asked me Trey Mann or Wiggins in a blowout run for Giannis. I definitely agree with you. I think it's Trey Mann for sure because even if it's not a blowout, he still gets the minutes. He closed last game like DC said. Go, you're about to say something, Hoop?
I like Butthole Jenkins' comments. I've been waiting for OKC to tank and bring back Jalen Horde to crush slates. Remember Jalen Horde at the end of last season? The dude was going – wow, didn't he have like a crazy game? Did he go for like 60 or something? It was a massive –
I think it was 40 plus multiple games. He reminds me of O'Shea Brissett, just like when Brissett got the run 2 years ago. I mean, when we get to March DFS, you're going to get guys like that. I don't know why they absolutely dominate, and then they just never see playing time after. So, I want Jalen Horde back in my life too.
Yeah, dude was going like nuclear, like every game.
He was smashing. Our boy Tyler in chat said thoughts on White and Brogdon as some cheaper guys. I like Marcus Smart more. I know he is more expensive. I think Grant Williams I like more than Brogdon or White. DC, any thoughts on those two?
they're okay, but Boston's like healthy right now in the backcourt, right? So those guys, if those guys are going off, if Brogdon and White are going off, this game's probably a blowout, and then they get pulled and miss, perhaps their last few minutes of their rotation. Priced up a little bit too, right? White 4,700 is more than he did. I mean, he's put up 25 in like 5 consecutive games, so 4,700 for that. You can't argue too much with it, but I don't see going there myself.
Yeah, I prefer the front court value, the Grant Williams if Robert Williams plays, just because they're a little more thin there. I think Smart is fine at 6K though.
Sure.
But yeah, he's not as cheap as the Brogdon and the Whites. And then a couple people have been mentioning Jalen Williams, whoever starts at center for OKC. He's cheap. He was getting his cardio in last game. He's 3.3K. DC, can you get to Jalen Williams if he starts today again?
I don't want to, man. This OKC front court is not not something I'm particularly interested in investing in, but they are all super cheap, right? And someone does have to play. So I get going there. I just think I'm going to look elsewhere myself.
Him or Kenrich Williams, because I saw his name brought up in chat as well. Then we'll move on to the last
I'm going with the bench guys in this game, honestly. So, yeah, I'll go Kenrich.
All right. There you have it. Let's get about 600 watching, 150 likes. We got one game left. I'll set it low. 250 we need. One game left on the slate. 3 games. Want to get you the plays of the day. So 250 is the number. When you do hit that like button, hit that big red subscribe button for us too. We do appreciate it. Those games both start at 8 p.m. Eastern today. The last game 1 hour later at 9 p.m. Eastern. Sacramento Kings, Utah Jazz. Big total, 242.5. Utah is favored by 3.5. Some news on the Sacramento side. Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter are questionable. And then going over to the Utah side, Colin Sexton is still out. DC, I'll go back to you in this one. Any lean on Monk and Huerter, talk if-then scenarios? Because, man, if they're both out, guys like Terrence Davis, even Fox, those 2 pieces that get good rotation or good minutes on this team. So talk about that injury news. I'm assuming we have to guess and plan that we're not going to get it before the other games just because I always go 30 minutes is what I say. Hopefully we do. And then we can break it down in Discord on the Up to Lock show. But talk about that injury news. Any interest on the Kings and the Utah Jazz?
Yeah. So I don't think Monk has missed a game this entire year. I believe he's played 35 out of 35 games. So the fact that he's on the injury report, I can't even remember him being on the injury report either. So I guess I kind of lean that he might end up sitting. Which if he does, this is the best game anyway, I think, right? Should be competitive, 2 high-paced teams, 2 teams that don't play a ton of defense. And if Huerter and Monk miss, you've got plenty of good plays on both sides, even if those guys play, but especially if they're out. Fox becomes, I think, an excellent play. And you can, Harrison Barnes is going to have to play big minutes. I think you'd see Davion Mitchell probably step in. Especially if Monk sits for 25 to 30 minutes, he's 3,300. So yeah, I think the approach I'll be taking on this slate is to load up on this game, right? Hope maybe get a couple blowouts in those early games, which could easily happen. 2 mismatches between Milwaukee and Washington and Boston and OKC, and hoping this game stays competitive. And you've got you can kind of go for that mid-tier build. Fox, Sabonis, Markkanen, Olynyk. If Monk and or Huerter is out, you can go to Mitchell, Harrison Barnes. All these guys, I don't think any of them are necessarily must plays. Keegan Murray would be a good play if those guys miss. But plenty of solid plays here. And if those 2 early games go haywire, you could be sitting on the nuts here on the late night stack. So that's going to be my approach, I think, on my main team for this one. Obviously, be watching that Sacramento news, but even if those guys play, you'll be okay, most likely with the game stack here. So yeah, this is the game for me. I'm sure most people will kind of lean that direction, but of course, people are still going to play guys from Boston, OKC, Washington, Milwaukee. So I'll be hoping this game shoots out like it obviously could, and if it does, I think the main pieces from it should all play pretty well. So yeah, definitely in on this one.
Yeah, highest total, closest spread. Utah's a team I've liked picking on all year. They just really don't play defense. Man,
perfect matchup for Sabonis. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the next thing I was going to ask you. Sabonis, Giannis, SGA, Tatum, Brown. Is Sabonis the guy? Obviously, if it was in a vacuum, you'd like Giannis over Sabonis. But with the price, you think you're leaning Sabonis?
Yeah, I'm going Sabonis tonight. Yep.
Yeah, loading up on the game. Who break down this game and then talk a little bit about Trey Lyles. Some people have asked about him.
Yeah. Just real quick, give an update about the contest from last night. It looks like DK started refunding, which, I mean, they were obviously gonna go ahead and make everyone whole from last night. I mean, the game was only like 5 or 6 minutes in. So they did the right thing. FanDuel is as well. Be interesting to see what they do with the best ball contest, though, because there's definitely – go ahead.
They came out. Someone dropped in the live show chat. So I'll just read it. What DK assists at Howdy put in our show chat at 257. Everyone at DraftKings, they're keeping him in the prayers. Bengals game not resuming this week, so all wagers have been voided. For DFS, Showdown and Flash Draft contests will be canceled and refunded. DFS Classic set contests such as Sunday through Monday slates will be paid out with current accrued points. Any lineups with a drafted player in that game will receive the difference of their winnings, so to ensure no entries that a player will have a loss. So if you were losing $200, you get that $200. If you were winning, it sounds like they are paying that out, which is good to see. So essentially a free roll. Best ball contest will remain live until the NFL makes a final determination of the game. If the game's not played, we'll pay out based on the current standing. So everything they did is hoping everything. And you said FanDuel is already refunding Showdown too.
I don't know if they did yet or not, but they're going to make everyone right on the situation. There's no doubt about it. So I don't think that was ever really in question. Yeah, I think they're still refunding in the process of doing it because someone said they deleted the contest and they didn't get any money. They'll make sure everyone is whole on the situation. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and before you break it down, 250 is what we need. This last game, only a 3-game slate today, over 600 watching should be easy, but that's the last time I'll remind. Go ahead,
no reason to not get the likes up today. I mean, there's no excuse today, so make sure you guys get that done. I mean, the injury news here relatively significant. I mean, if Herder and Monk are both out, I mean, those are guys that play minutes, substantial minutes, and if they're both out, I mean, Harrison Barnes, Keegan Murray, Trey Lyles, like you said, all going to get a bump. Davion Mitchell, they're all going to become guys that if Monk and Herder are in, we probably don't like all that much. But if they're out, they're almost like necessities on the slate because we just don't have many options. And there's a chance we probably get this before lock. I mean, lock's not until 8 p.m. Eastern time. This game's at 9 p.m. Eastern. So there's a chance we get it. And if they're out, obviously Fox and Sabonis also get a boost. I mean, I'd much rather play Sabonis, but there's a $1,500 difference between the two. Pretty significant news, I'd say, on this slate. Sacramento would become a real priority if those guys are ruled out. On the Utah side, Jordan Clarkson has a nice price tag, $7K, big time upside. I'm cool with him. I'd even be fine playing a guy like Mike Conley. Do I like Mike Conley? No, but again, 3-game slate. You kind of have to play guys that you typically don't play. Malik Beasley, 4.6K, solid option. You're going to want to be, I mean, if there's a game that's close, competitive, and high scoring on the slate, this is probably the one. I mean, it's a 242 total. Utah's favored by 3.5. Kelly Olynyk's another option to consider here. Markkanen, I do struggle with the 8.8K price tag on him. I mean, it's gotten way up there, but it's deserved. I mean, he's been great this season. There's no denying it. You're going to want exposure to this game. It's easier if Herder and Monk don't play. But if they do play, you probably still have to come here and try to pick up a few pieces. There's just no way around it on this 3-game slate, with the other two really not all that appealing of games, to be honest.
Yeah, I think a lot of people load up on this one. There's no doubt about that. If you only have 1 or 2 guys in your lineup before this last game, then it allows you to adjust. If Monk, if Herder are out, you'll have plenty of spots to navigate. So 2-3 slate, everyone's going to 1 game. If you want to get different, if you got the $15, you're playing a single entry in that $15, you know where the chalk's going to be, which makes it an interesting slate. As always, we'll have core plays, playbook, cash charts, big T's player pool, all that stuff will be up as always. The likes, very hurtful. I'll go to these guys for their last thoughts on the slate. We broke it down as much as we can. Only can talk about 3 games for so long. I'll look back. Hopefully we're at 250. But DC, final thoughts on the slate?
Yeah, I think, choose how you think, or, theorize how you think these 3 games are going to go and then build that way, right? Because on a 3-game slate, there's a chance that, I'm personally on the Sacramento-Utah game, but it might not be that one, right? But whatever game stays close, is competitive, I think you're going to want multiple pieces from that game. So I don't think the right strategy on this slate is to, have 3 plays from each of these games. I think you want to load up on one of them, hope that's the game for each individual lineup, and go that direction just from a game theory perspective, which becomes, I think, even more important on a 3-game slate. Basketball, NBA, usually about projections, but on a smaller slate, you got to go a little bit different route, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And I'll say, if you're playing like 5 chalky guys or something like that, try and get a sub 10% owned guy in your lineup. One guy, if it is like an SGA, if it is someone that, it doesn't have to be, if a Derek White, a Brogdon, if you have a lean on somebody and he's going to be sub 10% owned, all it takes is a flame emoji. Other people get a snowflake. That guy can be the differentiator to get you the top. So, just don't jam in all the chalk on a slate. You got to get different, a little piece, have a game theory. Hoop, Brett, final thoughts on this slate?
Yeah, 3-game slate's not all that appealing. Do appreciate the 630 people turning out to tune in and watch the show. There's no doubt about that. But again, we need those likes to come up a little bit if you want the plays of the day, which, by the way, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I'm going to anyway. The play of the day last night was Klay Thompson. And I don't know if you guys saw what Mr. Klay Thompson did. Hoop is not typically a Klay Thompson guy, but he's been treating me well lately. So he went back-to-back plays of the day and went 40, and then how many fantasy points did he have last night? It was massive. What was the number?
60 or something. He had over 40 real ones. That was
so
quite the call.
Yeah, you might want the play of the day. That's all I'm going to say.
I did have Klay Thompson on my team. Unfortunately, Donnie Mitchell, D-Mitch, was not on my – I somehow still made money, which is definitely surprising. Yeah. But, man, we see what Luka's done. Giannis has been doing. Then Donovan Mitchell goes out and does that.
Our old our friend Tommy G had a tweet like, man, it was not, and this was, this might toe the line a little bit, but he's like, it's not the best night to go for 71 points last night in the sporting world, because not going to get much recognition, and that's just the truth.
Tommy G's always towing that line.
Yeah,
he was so proud of that tweet. He texted it to me to make sure.
Did he really?
Yeah.
When's the last time you were communicating, or you talked to him before that tweet? Was it out of the blue, or?
He actually texted it to both me and Big T.
You got Big T in there.
He was super proud of that one.
Yeah.
Hey, I did see LeBron give D-Mitch a shout out though. He talked about it. KD talked about Klay Thompson. So we did get the likes home, 278. Awesome. We do appreciate that. Let's make a push. If you haven't, we appreciate if you hit that like button. We're going to get you the plays of the day, though. I'll start with myself first. The Swaze play of the day. I'm going to that first game of the night, going to the Washington side. We talked about a little bit. Rui Hachimura, 4.8 or 4.5K. Man, he's playing very good basketball as of late. It's a salary saver, opens up your lineup a lot. I'll take 25% usage rate, a guy that'll play about 30 minutes. Loved him since Gonzaga, like playing him a lot. So give me Rui as the Swaze play of the day. DC, Mom's Basement play of the day. Who do you got for us?
Oh, I was going to go with Trey Mann, but I can't go with a Thunder guy. Too big of a risk that your play of the day just randomly doesn't see the court, right?
So you don't want Baisley and Trey Mann back.
Yeah, please. Can't do it. So I'll go to what I think is the best game on the slate, Sacramento, Utah, and Sabonis. Great matchup against Utah. They've been crushed by centers all year long. I think Sabonis can approach triple-double territory tonight. So I'll go Sabonis as the play of the day.
There we go. Sabonis, the Mom's Basement play of the day. Rich Parents play of the day. Cap it off for us.
Yeah, it's a tough slate to feel good about the old play of the day.
That's because the Warriors aren't on the slate.
Yeah. Who I like after you said you better get it up. My plays of the day have been on fire. You open your play of the day with, I don't know.
The expectation's high now, and there's not many plays to really back it up. So I'll go with the guy that I know is going to play a lot of minutes, and he has a lot of different paths to getting there. Marcus Smart, Rich Parents play of the day. He's going to be out there a lot. He can get steals. He can knock down threes. That's where we're going tonight.
I like it. Marcus Smart, Domantas Sabonis, Rui Hachimura, the 3 plays of the day. 3-game slate will be in Discord. Core plays, playbook, all of that will be up as always. Hit that like, hit that big red subscribe on the way out. If you're not a member, don't know what you're doing, check out the PGA show tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Always fun there. Tomorrow, premium show. What a trio there. Tambo, Big T, Hoop breaking that down every Wednesdays. Golf, tons of money up top. Prize pools are absolutely massive for that. So excited for golf season. MMA will be coming back. NBA still going on. NFL playoffs coming up. A lot going on. Playoff best ball. Hoop and I will be talking a little playoff best ball coming out, having content for that. Big prize pools there, big edge there. So excited for that. A lot of money to be made. Let's see some RPS logos up top. We'll see you in the Discord for Hoop, DC. Hoop, you could, before I get you out, you're about to say something.
No, I was just going to say, you mentioned UFC. Man, your boy Dana had a little hiccup there on New Year's Eve, dude.
Whoa. I don't – he's taking – I mean, there's no excuse at all. At least he's saying he's not trying to be like, oh, this and – but, man, that's an awful look for Dana. But that's enough of that, though. Tough scene there for Hoop, DC. I'm Title. Good luck, everybody.